100.7 The Bay, joined on the phone by Jackass co-creator and director of the new docuseries entitled Nothing But a Good Time, the Uncensored Story of 80s Hair Metal. Jeff Tremaine joins us on the phone. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I am fantastic. I'm very excited to be speaking with you today. First and foremost, this docuseries, it begins streaming on Paramount Plus tomorrow, September 17th. It looks amazing, and I'm sure most people know you from your work with Jackass, but maybe not everyone realizes you also directed The Dirt, the Motley Crue biopic. So between that and this new docuseries, I got to ask, what is it about this era that captivates you so much? Because it feels to me like there might be a little bit of a common thread between it and Jackass, because there's like this sense of danger and chaos. Like, is it the chaos that kind of draws you into these types of things?
Probably, yeah. The lifestyle, like, that's my motivation to do The Dirt, was not so much out of being a fan of Motley Crue, but when I read that book, we were right in the middle of making the first Jackass movie, and the outrageousness of the whole lifestyle, we were very much in the middle of just doing that ourselves. And so I connected to the book. I'm sitting next to this right now as it's happening. So I want to just get that story and tell it, as authentically as I could. But also, I'm an 80s kid, right? I grew up in the 80s, so right. I love all things 80s and want to make sure that it's told authentically, because it was such an outrageous and loud-looking era that it can easily be misconstrued into parody, right? So I want to make sure that it's told authentically.
I think that's a huge point, and a huge part of telling those stories authentically is the people telling the stories. And looking at the list of people that you have contributing to interviews and stuff like that on this docuseries, it's legit, from Bret Michaels to Stephen Pearcy and Rudy Sarzo and a ton of others. Was there any person that was kind of like your white whale, like, I have to try to get this person on board to contribute to this?
Yeah, but when I read the book, this docuseries is based on a book, there were some definite guys that told stories, like Jack Russell from Great White. Wanted to make sure, like, he tells this crazy story of, right as he's starting off, he's in, Dante Fox at age 16 or 17, I'm not sure what age he was, but he started robbing cocaine dealers and gets caught up in this crazy, gets arrested for actually shooting somebody before the band even starts, right? And he gets arrested and has to wait 2 years, and when he gets out of jail, he gets right back into Dante Fox. They become Great White, and he blows up huge. We got him to tell that story, and I'm so glad we were able to, because he passed away recently.
Right.
Bad as that sucks, it would have sucked more if we didn't get his stories on tape and get to see him tell them with the vibrancy that he had.
That's amazing, and that is a insane story, and I'm sure this docuseries premiering tomorrow on Paramount Plus, Nothing But a Good Time, the Uncensored Story of 80s Hair Metal. It's going to be chock full of insane, untold stories like that. I would like to switch gears briefly, because I was so excited to speak with you, and I can't not talk to you a little bit about Jackass, because that show was such a huge part of my teenage years. So when I got this interview, I was insanely stoked, to say the least. Obviously, you could have never guessed when you started working on that it would become like the cultural phenomenon that it became. But what do you think it is about Jackass that gave it the staying power that it has?
God, I think it's just the other characters, like the guys. They're real, but they're pushing it to, an outrageous place. That I don't know what the connection. Like, I've never been able to figure it out. I think you're just in the middle of a group, and you feel like you're part of that group, right? Like, it's a group of tight friends, torturing each other, and you get inside look at it. So
yeah, I guess I can relate to that, because I feel like at least this was the case with my friend group. Like, everybody would try to point out who was the Steve-O of their friend group, who was the Bam Margera of their friend group. So I guess it is, like you said, the people that you kind of relate to, and then the extremes of it, obviously.
Right.
I'm sure you've been asked this 1,000 times, but I can't not ask it. Was there ever a stunt where even you said, yeah, we might have pushed it a little too far on that one?
Yeah, most of anything that makes it into the movies is usually pushing it too far. I don't know that I go back and regret any of them. Definitely, there's a lot of stuff that we pushed it too far, for sure.
All right, I want to bring it back to the docuseries, Nothing But a Good Time, the Uncensored Story of 80s Hair Metal. The last thing I'll ask you about this, and then I can let you go. The hair metal scene of the 80s, it's been explored by a bunch of, documentaries and books and movies and all sorts of media. And like you told that amazing story from Jack Russell that I'm sure a lot of people have never even heard before. How important was it for you to find new stories that haven't been covered before in any of these other, documentaries or anything like that, and finding like uncovered ground on this subject?
Well, I didn't make it a priority, to find untold stories. I think there are some in there, but to me, it was more about getting these great stories told by the people who lived it and told well, right? Like, to me, it was just forming a bond with the guys that I was interviewing and making sure that they felt comfortable to tell these stories, because a lot of these, like, it's a different world today than it was back then, for sure, and it's a little risky out there.
Right.
So it was important for me just to get it from the people who lived it and to try to get it right. Like, I didn't do it with any sort of judgment. I didn't judge anyone that we were interviewing. I wanted them to feel comfortable to tell their story and treat it with respect. So.
Awesome. Well, that's amazing. Thank you so much for spending the time hopping on the phone, talking with me. Jeff Tremaine, Nothing But a Good Time docuseries, The Uncensored Story of 80s Hair Metal. It starts streaming on Paramount Plus tomorrow. Thank you so much, sir. Have a good one.
Appreciate it. Thank you.